Uh, my name is Tristan, co-founder of Headley Holistics, located here in Washington State on Vashon Island. Approximately 2 years ago, our farrier alerted us to Ranger's condition. He was very concerned at the time that if someone didn't step in to take over his care, he wouldn't last much longer. So we assessed Ranger and were fortunate enough at the time to be in a position to take on a rescue. And so we agreed to step in and take over Ranger's care. When Ranger first arrived, we gave him a body condition score of 1 on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 on a body condition score means he is totally emaciated, weak, and unable to stand. A score of 10 would be a severely obese horse. We gave him a score of 1. When Ranger first arrived, he had very little muscle or fat on his body. His hips, ribs, shoulder, and backbones were all very prominent and angular. He had very little fat padding between his legs. We were actually quite amazed at how well Ranger was able to move around when he first got here, considering the condition that he was in. Ranger's caretaker at the time, before we took over care, told us that Ranger had neurological issues, and that's why he was so emaciated and unable to maintain weight. When he first arrived with us, he stumbled a lot. He walked a little bit like he was drunk, and he seemingly was unable to judge distances, and oftentimes would run into us, seemingly unable to gauge when to stop. Ranger also had quite deteriorated teeth. His dental health was in pretty poor condition, and he also had a very swollen gland in his throat. It is critical when bringing a horse back from a condition similar to Ranger's that you go slowly. There are many factors you have to consider. Things like metabolic issues for Ranger, his dental health, and the ramifications of changing a horse's diet all at once or too quickly. You have to have a plan. So the first thing we did when rescuing Ranger was move him and his pasture mate to a large paddock with shelter and fresh water. We then began to formulate a diet specific for him to maximize nutrients and the things that he needed to rebuild, but it also had to be something that he could chew and digest effectively. For Ranger's diet, we first slowly started to switch him from Timothy hay, which has a lot of stems and is very hard for a horse in his condition to chew and digest, to a green leafy alfalfa. Twice a day, Ranger received a mash consisting of orchard grass and Timothy pellets, soaked beet pulp, high-fat rice bran, and flax oil. We chose high-fat rice bran as opposed to stabilized rice bran because the stabilized version of the rice bran is stabilized with calcium, and given he was already receiving the alfalfa, which is high in calcium, we wanted to make sure not to throw off his phosphorus and calcium balance. We also fed Ranger a combination of specialized supplements to ensure that he got all of the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids he needs to rebuild his body. We use many different things, but some of the primary ones are Acadian kelp meal, which contains all essential amino acids. It's also high in vitamins and minerals. We use black cumin seed pressed cake, which is a complete protein, also contains lots of vitamins, minerals, and healthy fats. We use food grade diatomaceous earth to control pest parasites. We use Himalayan salt to balance electrolytes. We used cinnamon to balance blood sugar, and apple cider vinegar to maintain a healthy gut pH. It certainly would have been easier to feed a commercially prepared senior feed to Ranger. The challenge that comes with these commercially feeds are the toxins present that are detrimental to the healing process. It has become clear that the food supply in this country has become toxic due to the widespread application of petroleum-based fertilizers and pesticides. Things like glyphosate, 2,4-D, dicamba, glufosinate, and the list goes on. These chemicals don't just place a toxic burden on us, our animals are suffering too. Animal feeds and horse feeds are heavily contaminated, and unfortunately, commercially prepared complete feeds top the list as far as contamination levels. We no longer turn to them for nutritional support. It is unfortunate that today in this country there are no feeds available free from toxins. We choose feeds with the lowest toxic burden because our horses have to eat. To counteract the toxins that they inevitably encounter, we choose to detox our horses at least once a year for heavy metals and glyphosate. Detoxing your horse through conventional practices, such as a veterinary prescription, can be very dangerous. Their methods do pull out heavy metals, but along with those heavy metals, they also pull out all the beneficial minerals that the horses need to survive. So horses under those types of protocols need to be monitored very closely and can create quite dangerous situations. As an alternative to those modalities, we created a all-natural herbal-based protocol that not only chelates heavy metals and glyphosate from the body, but also leave behind the beneficial minerals such as magnesium and copper, selenium, phosphorus, calcium, and zinc. Initially, we did not detoxify Ranger because his condition was so fragile. Once his condition began to improve and he began to put on some more weight, we felt comfortable with a detox protocol, and we put him on a detox for 1 month, like we do with all the horses under our care. Then again, in August of 2022, we detoxed him for a second time. He continues to do well and is thriving. Ranger just recently passed his 2-year anniversary of being under our care. While we wouldn't consider him totally recovered yet, he's very much on his way. Currently, we give him a body condition score of a solid 4, almost a 5. He has increased body fat, muscle, tone. His coat absolutely glows. He freely runs up and down the hills and kicks up his heels. He still walks a little wonky sometimes, but he's well on his way to a full recovery. At 26 years old now, we're confident that the rest of his years with us here will be good ones, and his transformation has been truly remarkable. Ranger's story and horses like him hit close to home for us here at Headley Holistics. The journey of one of our founders began with multiple chronic health conditions that went unanswered by conventional wisdom for over 40 years. Her path from disease to health taught us so much about what it means to be healthy in today's world. So much of what our founder and people like her are challenged with today are echoed in our horses and our pets. We are so grateful for all the teachers and helpers that have come into our lives to teach us what it means to be healthy in today's world. We feel it is our mission to share what has been given to us with others who are struggling with health challenges in themselves and the animals they care for. If you're curious or just want to learn more about how you and the animals you care for can be healthy and thrive in today's world, please reach out. We are here to be a resource for you, your family, community, and the animals that we all love. Thank you.